Okay, so in front of me I have the iPad Air 5, which is literally an iPad Pro without ProMotion and a few other things, but let's unbox this baby up, test a few things and see how it stacks up against the previous gen iPad Air and also the iPad Pro. Okay, so compared to the last gen iPad Air box, I mean, it's pretty much the same aside from the wallpaper. I guess one difference would be the fact that this is now the 5th gen text, this is 4th gen. Other than that, these are identical. Okay, so let's open up the seal. Lift up the top, and there it is. The iPad Air 5 with the screen facing up. So let me just put this to the side and let's see what else we get inside the box. So the first thing, as always, is this booklet designed by Apple in California. And inside of this, we get the quick start guide, which basically tells you how to use the iPad, the buttons, all that kind of stuff. Then you get the regulatory information and 2 Apple stickers, which unfortunately do not match the color of the iPad. That's such a missed opportunity here. I wanted to see if the new charger was any different from the old one, and the answer is no. They're both 20-watt chargers, exactly the same. Okay, let's remove the plastic wrap. Well, in this case, the paper wrap. And there you go, the iPad Air 5. Okay, so just comparing the color against the previous generation, obviously it's not the exact same color, but this is the new purple. And as you can probably tell, it's way more saturated than the old generation. And same applies to all the other colors, the blue one especially, which is great because I always thought that the previous gen was just way too pale. And from certain angles, you can probably tell this green actually looks like silver. Okay, now I want to test the Touch ID speed just to see if the M1 model is any faster. And they seem to be about the same. Next up, I want to test the front-facing cameras and see if there's any quality difference. The new model has center stage, the old one does not. And the reason why I'm so curious about this is because if you take a look at Apple Studio Display, at the reviews, you probably know that a front-facing camera quality is quite bad. Significantly worse than the MacBook Pros, the M1 iMac, and also the LG Ultrafine 5K. And I think that has to do with center stage. If you think about it, you have what, a 12 megapixel sensor, and you're cropping in heavily to like a 2 megapixel image to get a 1080p video output. So I think that's why it looks so bad. So that's why I want to see if the new model could actually be worse than the old one. And it seems like my theory was actually correct. The new model is significantly worse than the old one. You can probably tell that there's a lot of noise. If you look at my jumper, there's significantly less texture on the new model. So yeah, the new one is technically worse. However, an advantage of this new model is that the lens is actually ultra wide, so I can actually zoom out and get a super wide picture if I really want to. But of course, the main advantage of center stage is how it can track you when you're moving in a video call. I do think this is more useful for desktop computers because at the end of the day, this is a tablet, so I can just move it. But yeah, it's a cool feature, I guess. I don't know if it's actually worth the trade-off in quality, but let me know in the comments if you think it is. And just comparing the actual photo quality, the camera modules, by the way, are the same, but I wanted to see if there's any difference in image processing. The new one is a tiny bit sharper. The difference is very minimal. But yeah, the new one is actually better. And now I want to do a quick speaker test against the old model and also the iPad Pro to see if there's any differences.
I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun. I don't wanna fall in love. I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun.
Okay, so between the two iPad Airs, they both sounded pretty much the same. However, the iPad Pro was significantly better, and that's because it has 4 speakers instead of just 2, like we do on the iPad Air. So the audio was much richer, much clearer, and the bass was also a bit stronger. Now I want to do a very quick Geekbench test between the M1 iPad Air, the A14 iPad Air, and also the previous gen A12Z iPad Pro. The biggest difference, as you can probably tell, is the amount of RAM. So we have 8 gigabytes on the new model versus 4 on the old versus 6 on the A12Z iPad Pro. So as expected, the M1 iPad Air was the fastest, and then interesting enough, on the second place we had the iPad Air. The iPad Pro was actually the slowest in terms of completing the test. However, it actually scored a tiny bit higher in terms of the multi-core performance compared to the A14 iPad Air. Okay, so I'm going to import one of our videos in iMovie, export it, and see how long the whole process, including the transfer, actually is. So to my surprise, the new iPad Air was actually slower than the 2020 iPad Pro, which, keep in mind, uses pretty much the same chip as the 2018. Yeah, in iMovie, it was slower. I think this is because iMovie has yet to be optimized to take full advantage of the M1 chip, but still, this goes to show that if you're upgrading from an older iPad Pro model, the actual speed improvements that you'll be getting are, at least at the moment, quite minimal. Okay, now I want to try and launch Procreate. Basically launch at the same time, open up an artwork. Maybe a bit faster on the iPad Air. Now, in terms of actually using Procreate, I gotta say, even though we have the marginally faster M1 chip, at least on paper, to be honest, the iPad Pro feels so much better because of that ProMotion 120Hz display versus the 60 panel on the iPad Air. Okay, so having said all of this, is it actually worth buying an iPad Air? Well, if you've watched our previous video on basically the exact same topic, the answer is still no. You can actually buy a much cheaper last-gen iPad Pro with the A12Z or even the A12, and you can achieve similar performance, or as you've seen in some cases, even better. And you get that ProMotion 120Hz display, which honestly makes such a big difference. On top of that, you also get better speakers, you get the LiDAR module with the 2020 model, which allows you to map rooms in full 3D. And you also get the slightly better front-facing camera, even though it doesn't have a center stage. As you've probably seen, the quality was actually better. So yeah, there you go, that's my answer. If you can find a last-gen iPad Pro, just get that instead of the new iPad Air. Like, honestly, the only reason to actually consider this iPad Air is for longevity. That M1 chip will give you loads of software updates, so if you want to use this thing for like 8 years or maybe even more than that, the M1 chip will be able to do that. But at the same time, if you need more than 64 gigabytes of storage and you upgrade to the 256 model of the iPad Air, the iPad Pro is only $50 more on top of that. So I really think you should still go overall with an iPad Pro. Make sure to check out our video on the brand new iPhone SE 3 and stay tuned for upcoming videos on the Mac Studio and the Apple Studio display. I'm Daniel, this is Zone of Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.